This is the newsroom for Friday, March 26, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, a Guyanese fishing vessel and its crew are attacked by armed Venezuelan nationals in the Guayana River.
All food, all boatload, same gun, all fish, all gasoline, everything about thief and away, everything.
The National COVID-19 Task Force says there will be aggressive joint patrols on Pagwa Day. President Irfan Ali says the government will be paying US $4 billion for 200,000 doses of Sputnik vaccine, while Moderna and Pfizer say they won't be able to sell Guyana until next year. An assistant police commissioner and 3 of his ranks are charged with defrauding the police force of over $19 million. And in sport, Anand Sanasi confident of becoming first Guyanese CWI president, and Golden Jaguars skipper forthright in assessment after defeat to Trinidad and Tobago. With the news, I'm Kurt Campbell. We're glad you can join us. First up, a Guyanese fishing vessel and its crew drifted at sea for 2 days after they were attacked by at least 12 Venezuelan nationals. They were armed with guns along the Guayana River in Region 1, Burima Guayana. The boat's captain, Parshuram Maniram, told the newsroom that they were stripped of everything valuing some $3.5 million. Isanela Patwa has the details.
The attack occurred about a week ago and the crew was rescued by another fishing vessel after they drifted at sea for 2 days. They arrived home at the Zilog foreshore, West Coast Demerara, on Friday morning. The boat's captain, Parisram Maniram, explains that he and his crew of 3 fishermen were pulling in their seine when they encountered the armed Venezuelans who held them at gunpoint and locked them inside a small section of the boat.
My ransom everything for the partner. All food, all boatload, same gun, all fish, all gasoline, everything about thief and away. Everything, GPS, radio, oil, everything. Gone from this boat here. All the fish outside the wine. 40 top, 30 bottom. Take away all of the clothes, everything gone.
Maniram said while he is thankful he and his crew are still alive, he called on the government to intervene and do more to protect fishermen at sea.
Praise God, we come back with our life. We ask for justice. For fishermen. This is the amount of sin that we pull you and walk. Reach over here and then chop off this in and drive it over here. All gasoline gone. Alright, so we all. Must be about 12 man. And put up in this scene pen here. Inside this power, then put all of it inside. All man got gone. Carry everything from away. Everything gone from this boat here. Everything. Everybody got family. Everybody need. I have to go walk. That's the things man thief of it. This is all me walk, man. All my wife belly big and anything. Everybody got family.
Meanwhile, the owner of the vessel, Gordon Diopal, told the newsroom that he has since made a report at the Tushan police outpost. Following this attack, fishermen with vessels that are loaded and ready to go out to sea are now afraid to leave.
Yeah, I'll be a captain of that thing. I'll be load this boat there, we got to see. Camera this boat there, right? Yes. I'll be afraid we got to see because after what happened in Venezuela, they were doing we hold water. Be afraid we got to see. We want this minister to give justice. Then we get some justice about these things. Because they say, hey, you're afraid we got to see your car and your family.
Guyanese fishermen and their vessels continue to face attacks at sea, and only recently, 2 Guyanese fishing vessels, the Lady Nayara and the Sea Wolf, were detained in Venezuela on a false claim that they were fishing in that country's maritime space. This occurred on January 21, 2021, and Guyana is adamant that the men were operating off the coast of the Winey Point within Guyana's exclusive economic zone, EEZ. Nevertheless, the vessels and crew were detained for 2 weeks before being released. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and the President of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, had stated that Venezuela was told in clear terms that it has no authority to detain fishing crews and vessels working in Guyana's EEZ. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanela Patwa.
We tell you now that in a bid to prevent violations of the COVID-19 guidelines issued for Pagwa Day observances, the National COVID-19 Task Force Secretariat has issued its own set of guidelines, emphasizing that there will be aggressive joint patrols on the holiday. Fariza Hanif joins us.
The task force's guidelines follow the Ministry of Health guidelines issued for the observance of Pagwa. Similarly, the task force underscored that Pagwa events held at mandirs, including cultural programs, chowtal, and satsang, are only allowed at 40% capacity. Mandirs are, however, encouraged to utilize their outdoor spaces when available. Religious gatherings for the burning of holika, which is done the night before, are allowed, but social distancing must be enforced and the activity must adhere to the stipulated curfew. That means that by 22 hours 30, the activity must be completed and persons must return home. The task force also noted that persons are encouraged to celebrate Pagwa within their home circles. Masks must be worn at all times. 6 feet social distancing must be maintained, and there must be regular hand washing and sanitization. Importantly, the task force noted that the celebrations do not involve the use of alcohol, and all non-religious Pagwa activities, inclusive of chutney shows, Pagwa parties, and limes and wet fetes, are prohibited. This specific provision comes at the heels of a few local businesses advertising parties and hangouts on Pagwa Day. This is strictly prohibited, with the task force further stating that Pagwa celebrations in public spaces are not allowed and large gatherings are also prohibited. The task force also emphasized that the joint services will be conducting COVID curb patrols nationwide to aggressively enforce these guidelines. As per the guidelines issued by the task force, aside from the movement of devotees to and from places of worship, Pagwa celebrations on motorcades are also prohibited. Additionally, social distancing must be respected and tolerance exercised where and when persons do not engage in Pagwa celebrations. Back to you, Kurt.
Thank you, Fariza. Police are on the hunt for 5 perpetrators who stabbed a 16-year-old student 5 times Thursday afternoon at Annandale East Coast, Demerara, during a robbery. Police headquarters in a statement said that the bandits were armed with scissors. The child initially resisted the bandits when he was stabbed. He was robbed of a laptop, a cell phone, a music box, and a backpack. The child was rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, where he had to undergo surgery. 2 days after President Irfan Ali announced that there will be a massive expansion in the local COVID-19 vaccination campaign from next week, he has again assured that no effort will be spared in ensuring that vaccines will be made available for all Guyanese. In an invited comment on Friday, Dr. Ali told the newsroom that Guyana will soon receive some 200,000 doses of the Russian-made Sputnik vaccine, Component 1, through an arrangement with the United Arab Emirates. Here is more. President Irfan Ali on Friday said the government will be spending $20 in each dose of the Russian-made Sputnik vaccine, which will be sold to Guyana by the United Arab Emirates. This means that a total of $4 million will be expended on this first tranche of Component 1 of the Sputnik vaccine, while plans are in train to secure another 200,000 doses of Component 2.
$20 per dose, right? So 200,000 is like $4 million. Very expensive. It's very expensive, but it is an expense we can't spare. The health of the population is critical. This will call for some adjustment in the budget and so on. But this, as I said, we are not sparing any expense on this. We are working on making the resources available to ensure every single Guyanese vaccinated.
Guyana and the UAE are currently finalizing the logistics to have the 200,000 doses of Component 1 of the Sputnik arrive here. The president assured that local authorities have already established a supply chain and storage facilities for these vaccines. Some disappointing news, however, is that vaccine manufacturers Moderna and Pfizer have told Guyana after great discussion that it will not be able to sell any vaccines to the country until 2022. Dr. Ali said while this was not the response Guyana was expecting amid an ambitious plan to vaccinate the majority of the population before the end of the year, the government will continue to engage at the bilateral level on the issue.
We have to get the vaccines. We have explored the Pfizer vaccine. We had great discussions with the company directly, and then we were told that this can only be available 2022. Same with the Moderna. the AstraZeneca. We have contacted the company directly. We are very grateful for Indian Prime Minister Modi, who ensured that production out of India came in. But again, the production line are being stressed right now globally.
Some good news is that the World Health Organization has told Guyana that it will receive 24,000 doses of AstraZeneca on Monday from COVAX. This is promising for the country's expanded vaccination drive, although it is down from the initially promised 100,000 doses. Dr. Ali said, with registration for persons 40 years and above started already, these vaccines will see a major shift in the country's vaccination campaign. In order to store and manage the vaccines and execute the task, the Ministry of Health has engaged various private sector players with the capacity to assist in the rollout. Additionally, the Guyana Defence Force has agreed to make some 400 ranks available to help with expediting the registration of citizens, while persons from local government bodies, civil society, medical and nursing students, and the medical brigade of the GDF will be trained to assist in the process. Persons will also be recruited as volunteers and will be vaccinated as they lend their assistance to the countrywide vaccination drive. The President made another appeal to citizens on Friday to act responsibly in helping the government achieve herd immunity and curb the spread of the virus. Still ahead on the newsroom, an assistant police commissioner and 3 of his ranks are charged with defrauding the police force of over $19 million. You're watching the newsroom. Assistant Commissioner of Police Kevin Adonis, along with 3 other ranks of the Guyana Police Force, appeared in court on Friday charged in connection with a multi-million-dollar fraud committed in the police finance department. Fariza Hanif has the details.
The Assistant Commissioner of Police Kevin Adonis, Sergeants Michael Corbin and German Fraser, along with Corporal Raul Haynes, appeared before the Chief Magistrate and McLennan on Friday and were not required to enter a plea. They were released on $150,000 bail each. The charge against the 4 officers alleged that between March 26 and 29, 2019, in Georgetown, they conspired with persons unknown and stole just over $19 million, the property of the Guyana Police Force. Corbin was charged separately with another offense, which alleged that on March 26, 2019, at the Guyana Police Force Finance Office, he input electronic data, that is to say, a payment voucher entry in the sum of $19,030,767 with the intent that it is considered authentic by the Ministry of Finance Integrated Financial Management Information System. He was released on $100,000 bail for this offense. Haynes was also charged separately for another offense, which alleged that on March 29, 2019, in Georgetown, while being a public officer employed by the Guyana Police Force, he stole just over $19 million belonging to the said police force. He was released on $50,000 bail. Assistant Commissioner Adonis was represented by Attorney-at-Law Mark Waldron, while Corbin was represented by Patrice Henry. Fraser was represented by Attorney-at-Law Lachmi Rahamat, while Hayes was represented by Attorney-at-Law Dexter Todd. The case was adjourned to April 12, 2021. Last year, Corbin and Fraser were arraigned before a city magistrate for falsification of accounts committed on the force by falsely entering $12.5 million in the Integrated Financial Management and Information System without the existence of payment vouchers. This offense reportedly occurred on April 4, 2019 at Evelary. They were released on $250,000 bail then. In 2020, SOCO launched an investigation against the Police Finance Department following a report of missing monies. Back to you, Kurt.
Thank you, Fariza. We tell you now that police are on the hunt for a man who allegedly raped his 12-year-old daughter in their Region 1 Burimawaini house. Police headquarters in a statement noted that the alleged rape occurred between February 28, 2021 and March 1, 2021. The newsroom understands that the child was asleep when the father held her down and committed the heinous act. The matter was unearthed by the Child Protection Agency and reported to the police on Wednesday. The perpetrator, who is also accused of similar offenses by others, has fled the area, police said. The Demerara Harbour Bridge will only facilitate light vehicular traffic not exceeding 18 tons following damage to the structural integrity of span 9. Minister of Public Works Juan Edgel said on Thursday that within 72 hours there should be a solution to fix the damage. Isanella Patwa reports.
According to Minister of Public Works Juan Edgel, the damage to the Demerara Harbour Bridge is as a result of overladen vehicles and the application of brakes after speeding on the bridge. A technical team is now assessing the damage and working on a solution to ensure the bridge stays afloat with minimum interruption to motorists and businesses.
We had to make a decision to interrupt the traffic for trucks bearing load. We have satisfied ourselves that if we release one truck at a time on the bridge, as against several trucks both going and coming at the same time, we will be able to alleviate some of the problems that we currently face. So the first thing we want to announce that the truck traffic that has been held up about 30-40 minutes now will be released one truck at a time, bearing load no more than 18 tons. So when that truck exits from one end to the next end, only at that time a next truck will be released to pass. So the traffic for load-bearing trucks will be slowed down.
Minister Edgel added that a new system will put on hold special crossings that were done to facilitate vehicles weighing up to 22 tons. He said the changes must be strictly implemented by the staff employed at the bridge, and any deviation will be met with disciplinary action. Additionally, it was noted that Mr. Ravi Ramcharitar, chairman of the board of directors of the Demerara Harbour Bridge Corporation, will engage maritime agents to devise a new retraction schedule. Further, Minister Edgel pledged to consult the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board alongside Mr. Ramcharitar to expedite the rehabilitation of Span 9. Under budget 2021, $890 million was approved to purchase 20 pontoons and rehabilitate Span 9 of the bridge. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanella Patwa.
Thank you, Isanella. 4 women were among 17 persons who took their oath before President Irfan Ali to become land surveyors at State House on Friday. The official certification of the surveyors came amid a stern warning from the president for the high standards and integrity of the profession to be maintained. Here is more.
As you advance your career, you'll be working in a new economy, in new Guyana. Don't for a moment believe that you have arrived. Don't believe that you have arrived today. You are just beginning the journey. Things are changing, dynamics are changing, technology is changing, skill set is changing, and it requires continuous change in your outlook. We have to learn to unlearn, to relearn. That is a new paradigm we live in.
That was President Irfan Ali in his charge to the newly sworn land surveyors. He cautioned that when temptations present themselves, surveyors must rely on the oath that they took to serve with the highest levels of integrity and adherence to high standards already set. In congratulating the new cohort of surveyors, the president said, "Let the law direct your actions." The 17 surveyors who took the oath on Friday were from 2 batches over the period 2018 and 2019, where they underwent a full year of training with other senior land surveyors. With an average 60% pass grade, they received training in land law, surveying theory, measuring science, astronomy, and mathematics. Meanwhile, examiner of the land surveyors examination, René Desbury, reported poor performance in the areas of math and astronomy. He said there was a need for the Guyana Technical Institute GTI to ensure that persons being accepted for the program have at least a grade 3 in math.
There were some recommendations coming out of the results which were analyzed, and one of the recommendations is to reach with GTI and discuss the mathematical background of students intake for the land surveying program, introduction of ethics in land surveying, and recommended limited field astronomy more geodesy and global positioning training, which is in keeping with the current technology being used in Guyana and around the world.
The newly sworn land surveyors are Afridi Ali, Kelvin Gittings, Amanda Bob Semple, Tiara Fredericks, Ashton Blair, Aclint Weeks, Anup Chitram, Alex Pearson, Dale Fraser, Colin Henry, Akin Benjamin, Terence Griffith, Lisa Alicock, Alex Lord, Darren Hopkinson, Natasha Ramsawar, and Alejandro Lachman. When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather, and bridge reports, along with sport. Welcome back to the newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We start things off with some cricket news. Challenger Anand Sanasi is very confident he can topple the incumbent Ricky Skerritt when Cricket West Indies hosts its annual general meeting and elections of officer bearers on Sunday. Newsroom Sports spoke to the Guyanese cricket administrator on Friday.
Aspiring Cricket West Indies president Anand Sanasi and his running mate Calvin Hope have been campaigning under the team Operation Rescue. Operation Rescue is premised on restoring excellence, soundness, confidence, unity, and enthusiasm. Sanasi and Hope are both directors of CWI. Businessman Sanasi is the current secretary of the Guyana Cricket Board, and attorney at law Hope is the vice president of the Barbados Cricket Association. While Sanasi did not want to disclose how he expects the votes to go, he is confident he will win. Skerritt's running mate Dr. Kishore Shallow had stated publicly that he anticipates their camp to win 9-3 or possibly 10-2. Skerritt had defeated former President Dave Cameron 8-4 in 2019.
Yes, I am. And if I didn't see that pathway, I would not have been in the race. Dr. Shallow, with whom I have a cordial relationship, certainly is very ambitious, but it's an election, and I would say everyone expects to win. I would not venture to predict by what margin, because, you know, I am sure that Shallow can win by the margin that he has predicted, and he might say the same thing about me. So I'll keep the prediction away. There have been surprises before when other incumbents have basically shown or said that they are extremely confident. I have no doubt that they have a right to do that, but only the results can tell you that. But what I would advise Mr. Shallow is ensure we stick to the Articles of Association and we do everything in a right way.
Skerritt, along with other members of the cricket fraternity, have publicly chastised Sanasi for what they deem bad governance of Guyana's cricket and questioned why an individual with such a track record is befitting the role of CWI president. Sanasi, in response, stated that he should be judged by the output on the field and the developments he has made in Guyana.
Yes, I've been here 10 years, but why don't we talk about the successes in the 10 years, basically swimming against the tide? A lot of what the Guyana and I has had to endure is because of the opponents not accepting that they are not in office. They have used the court system, and to some extent, not in a way that I would term fair, as a lot of the players also would have had a political influence, and regardless of which administration is empowering Guyana, this issue has transitioned different governments over the 10 years, and I would hope that very soon rather than later these things are resolved. So yes, it's a concern, but it's a greater concern for me to be sitting at Cricket West Indies for 10 years and then see that it's getting worse.
If successful, Sanasi said he will not victimize anyone who would have seemingly been against his candidacy, saying it is imperative all parties work together to move West Indies cricket forward. In the event he is unsuccessful, he indicated he would still be willing to serve in any capacity.
Well, I guess for me, nothing changes. If Guyana needs me to serve, I will serve. And if Guyana doesn't want me to serve, we still have unfinished business in Guyana, which I would like to see being resolved. And when in whatever way that is resolved, it's fine by me. I I would say though that my track record over 10 years on successes on the field of play is there and it's recorded. So I would like to be judged based on that, and not only on the field and achievements we've had, the LVI facilities and certain things that have happened. All I'm going to say is it continues. It started way back 20-something years when I got into cricket, and for whatever reason it continues. I enjoy challenges, but I get bored when it's not interesting. So let me just tell you that I will continue to do what I've done and in an enhanced way.
Sunday's election is set to be a virtual one due to ongoing pandemic. However, according to Sanasi, there is some contention over whether the voting process will be done via secret ballot or by raise of hand. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
We tell you now that the Jamaican batsman Nkrumah Bonner said it is a special feeling to finally get to Test 100. After making 86 and 90 in his debut series against Bangladesh earlier this year, the right-hander made a brilliant 130 not out to lead West Indies to a hard-fought draw in the first test against Sri Lanka this week in Antigua. He spoke to Cricket West Indies media moments after the maiden century.
Nkrumah Bonner, firstly, congratulations on your century today.
Thank you so much.
When you walked to the crease this morning, what was your plan?
Obviously, the team had a game plan, from the evening before we had a discussion, and basically, the coach and the team, said that, we wanted to bat for ourselves, for most, and bat for our families, and the people who support West Indies cricket.
Was there any point in time where you felt like we should go after the runs?
No, I would say no. I think, the outfield is thick, his experience bowling attack also, and the ball was a little bit soft. So, at first, in the beginning we had a small hope, but then lunchtime we decided no.
Today, you achieved your maiden Test century. Tell us what that feeling is like. You seem very emotional when you hit that four.
It's very emotional, and I don't think it's something I can explain. I think it's something that, someone have to experience, but all I can say, it's a really, really special feeling.
Did Jason Holder offer you any words of advice when you were in those nervy 90s?
Yeah, obviously, when I was 99, I thought the rain was coming, and I wanted to get the 100. I didn't want to stay 99 not out. So, Jason came down and said, just stay calm, stick to your process, and stick to your game plan, and it will happen, and it did. Thankful.
Your top score seems to be improving match by match. What is the secret to this constant improvement by Nkrumah Bonner?
Well, I wouldn't say there is no secret. Obviously, I have to say thank you to the batting coach, obviously. He did a lot of work with me during innings, and, I'm happy to see that paid off.
How much are you looking forward to continuing your form in the second and final test?
Well, it's a crucial test for us. We managed to draw this test match. Obviously, there's a few areas that we need to top up on. So obviously, we want to do it over the next 3 days, and be ready as possible for the next test match.
Thanks, Nkrumah.
Thank you.
Enjoy tonight.
Thanks.
Football news now. Guyana started qualification for the 2022 World Cup with a 3-0 defeat at the hands of Trinidad and Tobago in the Dominican Republic on Thursday evening. With one team from Group F advancing to the next round, the margin of victory is significant given the permutations that could possibly come into play later. Trinidad scored early in the piece through Levi Garcia in the 7th minute before Ryan Telfer scored the first of his 2 goals in the 15th minute. Telfer completed an almost perfect first half for the Twin Island Republic, completing his double in the 44th minute. Guyana will now face the Bahamas in their second game of the group on March 30, while Trinidad and Tobago will play Puerto Rico on March 28. The other team in Group F is St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, the Golden Jaguars skipper Samuel Cox was forthright in his assessment after his side went down 3-0 to Trinidad and Tobago in Group F action of the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers on Thursday evening. Labeling the loss a bitter pill to swallow, the captain said going forward it will be a case of recognizing the shortcomings and learning from the mistakes. Despite the result in Santo Domingo, Cox maintained that his players are an honest group of lads who are determined to give their best every time.
The performance. I think the first half performance was nowhere near good enough. especially I think in our own defensive third. As the gaffer said, there wasn't much in midfield last night. The game was played longer from both sides. They exploited us with that longer pass in behind us. And yeah, we did have chances, but at the end of the day, if you concede the goals that we did, the truth of the matter is you don't deserve to win football matches if you can't defend your own box and not ruthless enough in front of the final third. And in our own and in our attacking third, then you're not going to win football matches, and that's the short end of the story, really. So yeah, could we have scored a couple more goals? Yeah, of course we could, but at the end of the day, they missed a penalty as well. We have to recognise our own shortcomings and mistakes. We need to be better. All 11 players and the boys coming off the bench, we know we've got to be better going forward, and we need to adjust that in the next game and learn from these mistakes. The conversations after the game, yeah, of course we're an honest group of lads. Nobody goes out to any football match and wants to lose or doesn't want to give their best. It's an honest group of players that want to do the best for Guyana. So we recognise that it wasn't good enough. We know we need to do better. We know we need to make adjustments, and we get back on the training pitch tomorrow and trying to sort that out. So yeah, like I say, it's a bitter pill to swallow, and we just have to dust it off and look forward to the next game. You can't dwell on the past now. That's last night. We now look forward to Tuesday night, where we try and correct these things, man.
And finally, Johnny Bairstow struck a magnificent century and Ben Stokes a brutal 99 in an emphatic England chase of 337 to beat India in the second one-day international in Pune. Stokes was simply awesome in cracking 10 sixes in his 52-ball stay, while a brilliant Bairstow made 124 from 112 deliveries. Their second wicket stand of 175 came at 9 runs in over, completely decimating the India attack. Even though England lost 3 wickets for 2 runs and 9 balls, the chase, comfortably England's highest in India and their 5th best of all time, was completed at 6.3 overs to spare. It made India's 336 for 6, built on a measured 108 from KL Rahul, and Rishabh Pant's thrilling 77 look meagre. The series, now level 1-1, will be decided on Sunday.
And with that, we've come to the end of this evening's newscast. On behalf of the news and technical teams, I'm Kurt Campbell, saying thank you and have a pleasant rest of the evening.